Welcome to the Freewrite, a show where we dive into the art of songwriting, storytelling, and the creative process. Join me as I sit down with writers, musicians, and other creatives to talk about process, inspiration, and creating something from nothing. If you're an artist looking for community or a fan wanting to hear about the creative process, there's something for you here. Today, my guest is Ross Crusher Harris. He started playing guitar at 13, right after seeing and meeting Jeff Beck and the Jeff Beck Group at the Fillmore East in 1968. He was asked to play bass when he was 17 and fell in love with it. He's played with the likes of Smokey Wilson, Floyd Dixon, Steely Dan, Dickie Betts, Chris Gaffney, Larry Carlton, and many, many more. Most recently, he plays with the Three Blind Mice at Knowles in Laguna Niguel. He played with them 30 years ago, and now he's back with them, and I join them as well sometimes on Monday nights if you want to come see us. He has also played with Doc Drew and the Crew, and wrote, arranged, and played on their album Dream About It 10 years ago, and still plays with them occasionally. He wrote and played on his first album 5 years ago called Crush, and has written another album that is about to be recorded. Ross has lots of good stuff to share, both on the creative process and songwriting, and just stories about music, musicians from many, many years of experience with it. So I'm glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy this conversation with Ross the Crusher Harris. Ross the Crusher Harris, thank you for joining me on the Freewrite tonight. I'm excited to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Before we dive in, let's just start very broadly. Tell me about your path to songwriting, path to writing music.
Sure. When I moved to Newport Beach from Long Island, New York, I just started getting ideas in my head, because I had been, thanks to my big sister, she opened up like a whole world for me by taking me to see the great Jeff Beck Group in 1968 at the Fillmore East. And it was such a startlingly amazing experience that it opened up my mind to great amounts of creativity. And I started eventually, I didn't write any songs in New York, but when I came to California, I was just surrounded by lots of musical people, and I wrote songs that entertained them, and they loved it. The response was amazing, and I promise you, I did not expect that.
Yeah,
I thought they'd probably just roll their eyes and everything. But I even went to several of the Ball families, Ernie Ball families, birthday parties and things like that. And they actually asked me to get my acoustic guitar out and play a couple of my new songs. And they loved it. And so that, do I know why? No, but like I was. It kind of said something to me that it was a good thing that I was doing.
Sure. What was that early process like? Like when you started, my introduction to you is on the bass. So, but you said that you would pick up a guitar and just start going. How did you get to that point with it?
Well, I started out on guitar, and when I was 13, I got my first electric guitar, because everybody in my family hated the fact that I was trying to teach myself how to play drums. And they were very sound like anal, like nuts, like, oh, damn it, he's playing those drums again. No, and I had one snare drum with a rubber, muffler on top. That's all I had. It was a snare drum on a stand with a drum. You can learn how to play drums book, kind of thing. And I wasn't offered any lessons or anything. Of course, both my mother took lessons, both my sisters took music lessons, and they figured that I was going to grow up to just be like a normal businessman kind of thing, But it didn't go that way. I turned out to be a real kind of creative guy, part of being a Pisces, So anyway, so when I moved to California, I started, playing music with a few people, and then I got into a situation where, we needed to put a band together with some of my friends to play these cotillion dance, training situations, which basically what it did, like 13, 14-year-old kids would go on a boat, and we cruise around Newport Harbor, and it would teach them to ask, like a boy would ask a girl to dance. So his social skills started to be developed. That's what the cotillions were all about. So in the process of this, we had a rehearsal with my great friend John Ferraro, who's one of the, he's pretty famous drummer now, and played with a lot of famous people, Barry Manilow, George Benson, Larry Carlton, I can go on, but John's amazing. And then I was also, there were 3 guitarists in the room, and there was Michael Hamilton, who has gold and platinum albums now.
Yeah.
He played with Kenny Loggins for a long time. And then Nick Burton, one of my best friends at the time, who was an incredible guitarist. So they, sadly, even though I wasn't bad, I was pretty good, but I wasn't in their, league, I guess. And they all relegated. Looked at me and said, well, we need a bass player. Mm-hmm. And I quickly said, well, okay, but I don't even have a bass.
Sure.
So magically, John Ferraro had an EB2 Gibson bass underneath his bed, and he says, I have a bass. So he pulled it out, and I truly was unexplainably a fish to water with bass, and I was natural, and I really enjoyed it, and that's when I became a bass player. Sure. And people needed bass players, there were a lot of guitar players. So that's how that all started. And I just got into writing songs that were, tastefully, respectfully about, women and girls but romantic kind of songs,
Yeah.
Then the more I listened to guys like Elvis Costello, mm-hmm. and people, I started writing, funnier, crazier, English progressive kind of songs, nice. Which were really funny. And also another crazy English progressive guy who was more nuts probably than anybody was Ian Dury. Mm-hmm. And Ian Dury and the Blockheads. And so these all had influences on me.
Sure. Well, tell me about the different kind of avenues that you put your writing now. I know you have the recent solo project or 2 that you've worked on, and then you wrote the tunes for, remind me his name. I can't think of the
Doc
group now.
Drew.
Doc Drew. So yeah, tell me about the process for either of those. What is that like? Is it a different mindset going into writing for somebody else versus writing for a solo, your own project?
Well, I have to explain. Because sure. I, a few years before I started writing more complicated, more clever songs, as they say, I, like went to see a lot of live music, and my close friend John Ferraro played with Larry Carlton, mm-hmm. and Larry Carlton's bass player, who we became actually pretty good friends. His name was Robert Pops Popwell, and he was the consummate bass player for me. And I used to just watch him play bass and go geez, I'll never be that good, never. In fact, if I could be a third as good as him, I'll be great. Yeah. So, but it inspired me to write songs with really cool bass lines, mm-hmm. as opposed to normal, just kind of,
being an
supportive,
afterthought or
solid bass lines. Actually, watching Pops play inspired me to write, more cook and bass lines that were a little extra creative, and
Yeah.
so I could, integrate the actual verses, and the actual song with cooler bass lines. And then, it was more impressive, and it
Yeah.
was also more fun to write these songs because the bass lines were really cool. And I have to just share this. One of the great moments in my musical life was when I sent the Doc Drew Dream About It CD to Pops at his house in Nashville, Tennessee, and he actually said that. He goes, I really love your bass lines. And I couldn't believe it. It was just like,
Yeah.
it was just like unbelievable. Greatest compliment maybe I'll ever get, So,
Yeah.
but he said that that's what happened with the Crush album. Pop said, "How could you not have horns on a really cooking R&B album?" He goes, "I can't believe that you don't have horns." He goes, "You obviously didn't take R&B 101." He started giving me a bad time. It was really funny though.
Sure.
So that's why,
Had to sandwich the compliment with a little bit of a hard time with it.
right? But we were such good pals
Sure.
that it was fine. And he so you'll notice on the Crush, effort,
Hmm.
that there's pretty cool horn parts that I wrote for it, and that was because of Pops, his inspiring me to do that.
Nice. So, if we were to go to like the beginning of a songwriting process, what I like to ask is like if we were to hang up the call right now and you were to sit down with the intention of writing, what would those initial moments look like for you?
Classically, I always would get like a really uh, nice chorus that I really liked a lot.
Yeah.
That not only said what I wanted it to say, but it had like some kind of musical excitement to it that really hit home with me. And then after I could write the chorus, um, then the verses would be able to be written a lot easier. And
Yeah.
and also the chorus inevitably would have uh, thoughts running through my mind of what the music was going to sound like.
Sure.
So the chorus started everything out,
Yeah.
and a catchy chorus, catchy words, the whole thing, and then the rest of it was like 10 times easier to finish.
Sure. I love hearing when someone's writing process is different than mine because I find it almost daunting to start with the chorus. I feel like I need to take time figuring out what the song is about almost. But you're choosing, you're kind of picking that northern star and starting there and then going.
Yeah, it just led me to uh, completing the rest of the song, and it was a formula that, unbeknownst to me, like really worked, and
Yeah.
uh, and it just was, more exciting that way to have a really cool chorus,
Yeah.
and it made writing the rest of the song and arranging it too, like
Hmm.
that much easier. And then thinking of like horn parts, like multiple harmonic horn parts were
Sure.
like piece of cake, and it worked. I mean,
Yeah.
people, I've gotten some, I'm blessed, that I've gotten some really nice compliments on this stuff, and I wasn't doing it to get compliments. I just
Yeah.
hoped everybody liked it.
Sure.
Different.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you like mulling over just like kind of logging ideas throughout the day on like what a nice chorus might be, what a good like chorus idea, song idea might be, or are you sitting down kind of cold and starting from scratch?
Neither. it's
Mm.
it's stuff just like I could wake up while at like 3:48 in the morning and like go, oh my God, I hear this. It's like in
Yeah.
my head, and I'll go and get my pad and write it down. Or I can be I walk a lot on the beach, because it's just really not healthy both mentally and physically for you.
Sure.
And I'll just be walking along, and this song just pops in my head. I don't have any better explanation than that.
Yeah.
But I've never been like somebody who's like just sits down and just goes, I'm going to write a song now. Like,
Sure.
I don't. But I've always like had something just bang pop into my head, and
Yeah.
I there's no explanation for it, none, like
Yeah.
zero, like nada.
I love that. I love that. It's such a it feels like a romantic way of interacting with songwriting. It's
And it's totally, I mean, unexpected. Like
yeah.
if you're me, you're going like, well, it's not like, well, gee, I wish I could write a song. It's none of that. It just goes,
Sure.
I just hear like some words or some cool chorus or something like that. I just hear it. And like
Yeah.
I some of my best songs I've been walking on the beach, and like it's just like like,
Yeah. Will
and
you
I get out my cell phone and on the voice recorder and
mm-hmm.
start singing it into it, and
Are you always able to follow that? Or are there any times that are there any times you wake up at 3:48 in the morning with the idea and you're like, go back to bed? Are you
no,
oh
I don't trust myself to remember it.
mm-hmm.
So I know myself well enough, and you I'm sure know yourself, like how you roll, as they say.
Yeah.
I know that if I don't write it down, at 3:49, that I may never, remember it, or it
Yeah.
may never become anything because I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
And
We
or you can, if I'm walking on the beach, I don't have to write it down. I get my phone out and I start
mhm.
going on the voice recorder thing.
Yeah. Will you speak to that? Like what specifically like I don't know, the way I'm framing it, it feels like you're very like loyal to that spark or that idea, that inspiration, that whatever it might be. Um and like there's kind of a loyalty and like a trustingness to it. Do you agree? Is that how it feels?
Yeah, exactly. You're spot on. Yeah, you're right on. It's it just, I've listened to so much music in my life,
Mm-hmm.
several, many different genres I love, uh, you know, uh, British progressive rock, American rock, 60s, like Cream and things like that. And then
Yeah.
also I have a big, thing for bebop, Miles
Mm-hmm.
Davis kind of stuff, and then also fusion, like but I also
Sure.
love classical music,
Yeah.
and in the back of my mind, not in the front, is country. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
seek country music out, but I still like it, but I don't, you know, but
Sure.
it's like in the back of my mind. I wrote this song for the great Albert Lee, you know, who's been a friend of mine since the early '70s, and he didn't wind up using it.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that it is it's definitely a country uh, tune, but I'm really
Sure.
proud of it, and I
Yeah.
sent it to you. I met a girl in Calabasas. I just because I wanted to be a little prepared for this. I hadn't listened to it for a while, and I played it, and I just said, I wish I could complain about this song, but I like it.
Yeah. What is the process like when you spoke to it a little bit, when kind of fleshing out the idea and adding the other parts? You were saying that it just once you kind of nail that chorus down, everything else just kind of flows naturally. Are there any places that maybe you find yourself getting hung up more than others, or is it just kind of more like a momentum? Once it's going, it's going?
Well, partly, but another big part of it, which I haven't, shared,
Mm-hmm.
is that there's things that going on in my life that are really inspire me.
Mm.
Like a woman in my life, as an example, can, greatly inspire me to write certain lyrics because, all women are different. They have little characteristics about them that kind of hit you, and that which, endears them to you. So it's wonderful to write about stuff like that.
I just want to take a quick break from the pod to invite you to check out my Patreon page. I'm finally starting to post bonus content from the pod. So at the end of this episode, Ross and I stayed on and talked for about 10-15 minutes, and he had a lot of good stuff to share about Zen. We started talking about Zen and mindfulness and letting go and relishing in the positive and the joy and the beauty of life. And it was way more meaningful than I was ready for. So I hope that you go check it out on Patreon because there's good stuff on there. Anyway, just had to take a quick moment for the plug. Now back to the episode. Is there anything that you're especially trying for when you're songwriting?
I want to reach somebody's emotions. I don't want to, be too, quote unquote outside. I want to
Sure.
I want to appeal to well, not only my emotions but to other people's emotions. So when they hear the lyrics and the music, it somehow affects them.
Yeah.
And not in a like an overt, like kind of aggressive way,
Sure.
like in a way that they get a chance to go, yeah, I know what I kind of get what he's talking about,
Yeah.
That's my goal,
Yeah.
So
What
I
a-
like to get people's emotion out of them by after they listen to my song.
Yeah. What feels like it can sometimes, if not always, be the hardest part of the songwriting process?
To have the song from start to finish have coherence to it.
Mm.
Because you're putting choruses, you're putting bridges, and you're putting verses together, and to have something be a little mediocre, not
Mm-hmm.
not hot like the rest of the song.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that can drive me a little nuts. So or is the song long enough, or is it too long? Like there all those
Yeah.
kind of things. I just try to make a song from start to finish, like try to be create a nice emotion.
Yeah. Do you ever get to a point with a tune that you really like a portion of it, but like kind of like what you just said, there's a portion of it that either isn't working or isn't as strong?
Well,
What is that like?
I won't feel like the song's complete if that's the situation. I'll go out of my way to make sure that the if there is like something that isn't incredible, I'll
Yeah.
make it. I'll work on that and make it incredible. And also working with like I have some good friends that I've like shared my tunes with that have
Mm-hmm.
helped make them better. That I didn't get or see right away, and
Yeah.
so stuff like that to put it out with people that you respect and you really think that they could be objective and come up with some cool stuff. That's a smart idea too.
Yeah.
They call that like delegating, kind of.
Sure. Yeah. How do you know when a song is done? Like how are there any markers for, like you're saying, if a part isn't good enough, you're gonna work on it and get it there, you're gonna get help from friends. How do you finally know you've landed in a good spot where you're done and ready to either send it to somebody or go record it?
I really have a way that I always, 100% of the time do it.
Yeah.
If I feel strongly that I knocked it out of the park, like that song, is just the way I wanted it. It says what I wanted to say, but it all, like I said at the beginning, it creates like a really nice emotion for anybody that listens to it.
Sure.
I need people who I feel are objective, yet they have my respect in a positive way, not in a like, I'm scared, but I'm
Sure.
going to show it to you, like turning in like a paper to your English professor or something. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's more like your peers, like, and somebody that you really, knows you, but really, is your pal. And he'd tell you in a heartbeat, that sounds like crap, or that chorus is really a dog, or whatever.
Yeah.
I need somebody to tell me that they like it and that they feel good. They feel good about it. They think it's a good song. So
Yeah.
I try to, get a little reaction.
Sure.
But I usually don't worry a lot about the reaction if I just really feel like, yeah, that I like that. I really like this tune. And that's kind of how I roll. Like if I don't feel that way, then I might keep working. But I've been lucky, I feel like I have a little touch for, writing songs that are coherent, but they, as I say, create like a nice emotion that people feel.
Yeah.
Kind of blessed with that a little bit. I don't know where it comes from, but I'm not asking any questions.
Yeah. Okay. What about like the recording process? When you're getting into it, like when sending the tune to somebody else or when recording it yourself, tell me about that. Tell me about what that's like for you.
Sure. There's two situations. If I just write the song like on an acoustic guitar, or I have an acoustic bass too. Like if I write it like that and I send it to somebody, it'll go, yeah, we need to do this. We need to, in other words, like somebody who's actually going to like produce it,
Sure.
That's one way. But a lot of times, I feel good. I can either send it to somebody or keep it at the studio. We do the basic tracks first,
Yeah.
and then keep layering it till it's where we want it to be.
Yeah. What are you looking for with those tracks? What percent? I'm picturing like a bar graph or something. Like what percent of it is like feel, emotion? What percent of it is like proficiency and getting it right? Like I feel like there's such a spectrum of how a track can be, how a track can feel with regard to having done it right or having it feel better, like the tonally, any of it.
Yeah, I have a little formula
Yeah.
for me. I mean,
Sure.
everybody's different, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I always thought that being a bass player, that a cool bass line that's a little bit creative but yet, makes the song cook,
Yeah.
and with the drummer together is a good place to start. And then, to have like the full arrangement in mind. In other words, you've written this great bass line, the drums are great, but what wouldn't it be great to throw a horn section on this,
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I roll. But the main thing is to create the rhythm, section has to really be hot.
Yeah.
And I always think that a slightly clever bass line is the way to do it. You can't be silly, you can, I mean, so, hey, the way I roll, if you want to, I'm not telling anybody what they can or
Sure.
can't do. I'm not that guy, but for me, I like a cooking bass line or a sensuous bass line,
Yeah.
and then and then layer the stuff on top. Sometimes I hear on a like an electric piano. Sometimes
Mhm.
I hear a B3 organ. Sometimes I hear, as I say, you know a multi you know uh, uh, note horn section.
Sure,
Like
sure.
like first, third, fifth. Like all
Yeah.
that stuff together, and then uh, so I think that's how I like to do it. But it's important for me. It always was, and right or wrong, it's just I need that a cool bass line with a
Mhm.
nice drum uh, line to complement it together, and then it seems like putting the melodic parts on top of that. Uh, it's a lot easier. And
Nice.
guys who play really well, like yourself and your dad,
Thank you.
uh, they get it, it's easier for them because the bass line is a bass line, the rhythm section, the drummer and the bass together are saying something. But if the bass line has a little bit of melodic creativity to
Yeah,
it,
for
but
sure.
tastefully, it kind
Mhm.
of tells like you, the keyboard player, where to go, and
Yeah.
it tells the guitar player where to go, and
Mhm.
if you have a sax player or horns, it tells them where to go
Yeah.
and the vocalist too,
Yeah.
like so that's that's how I that's how I look at it. It just it's got to cook, fast, slow, medium, whatever it is, it's got to be a cool bass line.
Yeah. And then what about naming projects or naming songs? Like, is that ever a struggle or?
No, actually, I'm blessed with, as I say, being a Pisces. I'm inherently, pretty creative. Where it comes from, no clue. But
Sure.
um, also, uh, I was blessed at a young age. My older sister, played so much music for
Mhm.
me and my other sister
Yeah.
that we were exposed to we were exposed to Motown, we are exposed to the Beatles, the
Yeah.
Stones, the Cream, Hendrix, but also, like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, like,
Sure.
and she also turned me on to a lot of Chicago blues. So I
Yeah.
have all this, at my disposal, and then I love stuff like bossa nova, like things like
Yeah.
that. So I have all these influences that are in me.
Mhm.
So I try to take advantage of that.
Yeah. You have lots of uh, also just experience with different musicians and artists over the years.
Yeah.
Are there any especially fun or interesting stories that you got that you wanna drop?
The well, I got too many of them. I'll say that. But
I was assuming, yeah.
one of the most interesting afternoons in my
Hmm.
musical career was I was asked to play bass for the great Floyd Dixon.
Hmm.
Floyd Dixon wrote the song that was in the Blues Brothers movie, Hey Bartender.
Okay,
And then he also wrote like Wine, Wine, Wine and a few other just classic, like,
cool.
but kind of swinging blues tunes.
Hmm.
So at my very first rehearsal, uh, we were starting to play Hey Bartender, and so I'm playing, the bass line,
Hmm.
but he was known also for not only playing with a band, but he went through little phases where he'd play solo.
Hmm.
So he would play the bass line on his left hand, and in fact, like lower octaves too, like
Yeah,
not higher octaves, but lower octaves. So anyway, we start playing it, rehearsing it, and I I was really like nervous about saying this, but I said, Floyd, I said, I'm a huge fan of yours. Your music is amazing. I said, that's none of that. But I said, would you be so kind? Uh, I'm just asking, I said, if you don't want to do this, it's
Sure.
fine. But I said, would you be so kind to move your left hand up one octave higher while we're playing Hey Bartender?
Yeah.
And you could get fired for saying that, by the way. You eat in a
Yeah.
heartbeat. I've known other people that have, but he was just this a sweet man, but incredibly talented. He said, okay. He goes, boys, he goes, Hey Bartender, Ross version. Let's hit it. So that was amazing. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Nice. That's good. Yeah. Hey Bartender Ross version. That's it. That's what we'll call the podcast. We'll title it the Freewrite Ross version. All right. Well, it's time for the slow round. Take as long as you want on these questions or go through them as quick as you want. It's up to you. First one. What are your beliefs around inspiration?
That they have to be real and they have to involve some kind of romantic aspect to them.
Hmm. What do you find yourself writing about most? We kind of already covered it.
Uh, my feelings for special moments with either a woman or a very close friend.
Yeah.
Like one of my really close friends, a great guitarist, passed away, but he shared with me the last time I got to spend time with him that he knew he was, he passed away from cancer, sadly, but he was an incredible guitarist and great friend, and he shared with me that when things got a little too heavy, regarding his, like, after he got back from the doctor and they told him that, like he had cancer and so forth and so on, he would go off by himself and play his guitar. So I that's on my Crush album. It's called My Safe Place.
Yeah.
And that was for him. And I actually played that at his celebration of life. And it was just a tribute to, when the world's nuts, you can go off by yourself or maybe with other people, but you can go off by yourself and play your guitar and things will be a lot better.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Is there a piece of creative advice that you've really resonated with?
That I got or
Let's do both. One that you received and then maybe one that you would give.
Less is more. From my big sister when I first started out playing guitar, because I tried to start playing like, a bunch of notes, like when I was trying to play solo, like guitar solos. And she comes in my room and she says, all the best guys, all the really best guys can play one or two or three notes and make them sound incredible. She goes, when you learn how to do that, then you've really gotten somewhere. And so in general, the whole less is more thing really resonated with me. So that was big. Everybody's entitled to enjoy whatever artist that they love. Like, but there's certain artists that play like way too many notes, and it's just that I was groomed to not only not play like that, but not enjoy people who play like that. It's there are a few people that play a lot of notes that are fine with me. There are, but not many.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then
cool.
I just think that, like I've been saying, I think it's important to be able to evoke some sort of feeling
Yeah.
from the music that you play, as opposed to like just mega surfacey, cheesy,
Yeah.
stuff that like just you know people just kind of go like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a little cheese, like,
Sure.
like it's not real enough. It didn't say anything like a little more like emotional
Yeah.
reaction kind of words or music. It didn't evoke, like that kind of response. And I think
Totally.
that's what you want. So that's, if I was going to, suggest anything to anybody, I'd say, make sure the music, that whatever it is, I mean, it doesn't have to be about, women and love and romance, or like, consoling a close friend or whatever it is. It can be anything, but the main thing is that it needs to evoke some kind of emotional response, I think.
Yeah. What is a creative goal of yours?
To finish my next album that I've written all those songs for. and
Nice.
I'm and I have to admit, I'm so blessed that I have more amazing musician friends, and some of my very oldest musician friends that have volunteered to be on it and part of it. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited about that.
That's great.
And I'm trying some stuff, not all of it, but a couple of songs that have like more interesting time signatures.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to branch out in that area
Hmm.
for some reason that I don't know.
Yeah. Is there a song by somebody else that you wish you would have written?
uh oh, I think there's too many,
Sure.
there's just a few too many, and
Sure.
all my favorite blues guys, like, everybody with the last name King,
Yeah.
Phoebe, Albert, and Freddie, and then also like bands like, Hendrix and Cream, and then also like more of the swing and blues guys, like the Floyd Dixons of the
Mm.
world, and but also, like Howlin' Wolf, and there's just too many.
Too many to name.
That's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Well, what about this? Is there
But
any?
George Harrison was my inspiration on, as an example, which I
Sure.
on, My Safe Place. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, to pay tribute to George was a crazy honor,
Yeah.
and so I wouldn't have written that song if it wasn't for my love of George's guitar playing.
Yeah. Hopefully this narrows it down a little bit. Do you have any music that you've been especially into recently? Anyone that you've been putting on more than others?
I've been listening to, of course, way before he passed, but a lot more Jeff Beck, and a lot more Tony Williams, who's
Hmm.
one of my biggest favorites.
Cool.
Miles Davis, of course, but lots of, the I listen to so much stuff but I've been, the blues guys, all my favorite blues guys. I don't know. I didn't really listen
All of
to a
it.
lot of people, but
Cool.
even the Jay Giles band, I love, and Wes Montgomery. Like there's just a plethora
Yeah.
of musical interest that I have.
Nice.
But enjoying people who play amazing bass lines, like Jack Bruce, and Whistle, and Chris Squire. I saw Yes recently, or John
Yeah.
Anderson and his band currently, and the music is just special. So
Yeah. Do you have any songwriters or friends that you want to shout out that listeners should check out?
well, most of my friends for no reason. They're incredible musicians, but they, you know, except one of the greatest ones though is Mike Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
I'm, you know, and the sad part is that, you know, we play every Monday night, so it's hard for me to get to go see Mike, but I've always been in awe of his prowess, you know,
Nice.
and the just amazing music that he's written. So
Yeah,
that Mike's probably the biggest one.
cool.
He's just scary how talented he is, but he's modest about it at the same time.
Yeah. Well, the last thing is if you have anything to promote and or where can people find you?
I sincerely feel that people should definitely come into Knowles on Monday nights from 6 to 9,
Heck yeah.
because the music that's played by yourself, Michael Bones Jones, and your incredible father, Brian Barrett, and I make my little contribution, is some pretty damn good music. So I think that's a really good choice. So.
Sweet. Well, Ross, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the pod. I appreciate it.
Oh, I thank you. And I'm glad I got a chance to share everything. And thank you for the questions. They were intelligent questions. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for listening to my conversation with Ross Crusher Harris. You can find his music most notably on Doc Drew and the Crew's album Dream About It. If you enjoyed the episode, it would mean a lot to me if you shared it with a friend and left a positive review. Those both really help out the show. You can also see full video on YouTube if you search The Freewrite. The podcast is on its own channel now, so check it out on YouTube under The Freewrite. And if you have the means and would like to support myself and the show even more, you can check out my Patreon page. I post unreleased demos, music recommendations, and bonus content from the podcast weekly. I really want to keep this show going, and supporting me on Patreon is the best and clearest way to make sure it continues. Thank you again for listening this far. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you make some time for yourself to create something today.